I discovered that my wife valued her sister's big day more than my life. On the exact afternoon, the urologist revealed I could lose my kidney. He showed me the imaging scan and indicated this bright, irregular white spot lodged in my kidney, like a sharp shard of ice embedded there. An atom stone, generating the relentless back pain I'd brushed off for weeks. He explained it was far too big to pass on its own, already obstructing urine flow, with my kidney performance declining rapidly. Surgery had to happen within days or irreversible harm would set in. The price tag, $12,000 out of pocket since our insurance carried a steep deductible we hadn't met. Still, I felt calm because my wife Sarah, and I had carefully built an emergency savings precisely for crises like this. 6 years married, we'd always handled finances together, splitting expenses evenly, adding the same amounts to savings, discussing every significant expense openly. Driving home from that appointment, I felt thankful for our discipline, relieved we'd skip trips and fancy meals to gather almost $18,000. I stepped into our place and saw Sarah at the dining table with her computer open, wedding inspiration pictures scattered around. I thought it was kind of her to assist her sister Megan with preparations, even though the ceremony was just 10 days off. I sat opposite her and calmly described the entire doctor's report: the stone, the urgent procedure, the tight schedule. She listened, appeared worried, asked sensible questions about healing duration and pain control. Relief washed over me knowing I had someone solid by my side. Then I mentioned the key detail that flipped everything. We'll have to withdraw $12,000 from our emergency savings. That's precisely why we built it, isn't it? I anticipated instant agreement, perhaps a comforting touch and reassurance. Instead, her face transformed, sudden anxiety mixed with shame, that made my insides twist before she spoke. Words tumbled out quickly. Megan's wedding budget had imploded, the reception site raised fees unexpectedly, the caterers demanded a larger upfront payment. The groom's relatives pulled their financial support. Megan had shown up in tears 3 weeks earlier, devastated at the thought of canceling her lifelong dream after invitations went out and her gown was purchased. In that instant, Sarah chose to rescue her younger sister, insisting family stands by family. She'd moved $14,000 into Megan's account as a short-term loan, repayable with interest inside 6 months. I absorbed this while she rambled on, growing defensive, stressing it wasn't charity but a formal loan with paperwork signed, that she'd intended to inform me soon but moments never felt appropriate. I questioned why she'd unilaterally decide on $14,000 of joint money, our shared security, without even a discussion. She answered that she knew I'd hesitate, analyze excessively, and probably persuade her against it. The fight stretched across 3 exhausting hours, moving through every corner of our home. I stressed this wasn't truly about her sister or the celebration. It concerned solo financial choices impacting us both. Draining funds reserved strictly for genuine emergencies like the one striking me now. Sarah repeatedly returned to her main defenses. Megan would repay everything plus extra. A wedding happens once in a lifetime. My operation could safely shift 1 week while she gathered alternative funds. It's not fatal, just a kidney stone. People handle those constantly. I countered that the specialist stressed delay carried serious risk, that my slight fever suggested brewing infection, that kidney harm doesn't reverse. She scoffed, claiming I exaggerated, mentioning her cousin once passed a stone using citrus water and rest. I retrieved the doctor's notes, displayed the bold warnings demanding prompt surgical action, the marked sections about falling kidney efficiency and sepsis threat. She glanced briefly, then insisted Megan's event was 10 days away. 1 week's postponement wouldn't end me. You can hold on. It's her moment. The absolute tone, like my well-being could be bargained against her sister's occasion, broke something fundamental inside. That night, I retreated to the spare room because sharing space felt unbearable. Over the following 48 hours, my symptoms worsened dramatically, yet I remained trapped in this horrifying bind, needing an unaffordable procedure because my wife had quietly removed our safety net. And yes, theft began feeling like the accurate term, even if legally questionable in a joint account. Pain escalated from constant throbbing to sudden piercing attacks stealing my breath. Fever climbed relentlessly, tracked obsessively. Sarah observed my deterioration but downplayed everything, handing me basic painkillers, assuring improvement soon, repeatedly mentioning Megan's upcoming rehearsal events needing her attention. On the third morning post-diagnosis, I awoke consumed by internal fire, staggered to the toilet and noticed my urine appeared reddish and murky. Temperature hit 103.4 degrees F. I recognized the danger signs the urologist had detailed. Fever combined with urinary changes plus obstruction signaled infection. Blocked infected systems can trigger sepsis alarmingly fast, and sepsis kills swiftly. I messaged my brother Mark about the situation, then booked a ride to the ER since Sarah had already departed to assist Megan with final dress fittings, and I refused to delay. The emergency physician reviewed records and fresh labs, immediately ordered broad-spectrum IV antibiotics, stating early sepsis had begun and emergency intervention was required without delay. Admitted straight to intensive care, I lay surrounded by beeping machines, IV drips entering both arms, staff hurrying to stabilize me. I sent Sarah a message updating her. 3 hours passed before her reply arrived. She'd visit after the rehearsal meal concluded. Megan truly required her presence now. Hospital staff had everything handled. No reply came from me. Prep for surgery had started, and I'd finally grasped an obvious truth. My wife had selected her sister's wedding celebration over my actual survival, allowed my condition to reach near-fatal levels rather than confess her disastrous financial call, placed table settings and centerpieces above my kidney survival. They rolled me toward the OR near 8 p.m. I pictured Sarah likely at an elegant venue, raising glasses with Megan and her groom while I drifted under anesthesia. Uncertain whether my kidney would survive or infection had advanced irreversibly. The final sound before darkness was a nurse mentioning my wife had phoned for an update. It stirred nothing, just hollow space where affection once lived. While she styled her hair and chose accessories for the rehearsal gathering, I battled a preventable bloodstream infection in ICU. I regained consciousness 3 days post-operation, riddled with drains and lines, side aching like repeated blunt trauma. The staff explained complications extended surgery time. Infection had progressed deeper than scans indicated. They'd preserved the kidney, but harm proved substantial. I'd remained mostly unresponsive 72 hours while my system fought sepsis. The nurse called me fortunate to survive, words that rang endlessly since I'd hovered near total shutdown mere hours from the OR. When vision cleared, I saw Mark exhausted in the bedside chair. He'd driven overnight after my ER text and stayed vigil ever since. He mentioned Sarah appeared once during my unconscious phase, 20 minutes maximum, mostly texting wedding logistics. He nearly ejected her but avoided drama in critical care. She'd left discount convenience store flowers beside the bed and vowed to return. Billing staff visited later, detailing costs nearing $19,000. Emergency nature plus prolonged ICU altered coverage, smashing my out-of-pocket limit. Insurance helped somewhat, but years of payments loomed. I kept reflecting how $18,000 sat available 3 weeks earlier, enough for planned surgery plus buffer. Instead, I faced lifelong impairment and crushing debt, because Sarah deemed a ceremony more urgent. Sarah arrived later wearing a fresh dress I recognized from recent photos, smile overly cheerful until meeting my gaze. She inquired about discomfort and meal quality, yet distraction colored every word, like reciting lines. Then came the sentence that ended any remaining illusion. I'm relieved you're recovering, but did the surgery truly have to happen exactly then? The wedding is 3 days away, and I've scarcely supported Megan. Spoken as though I'd timed near death deliberately to inconvenience her. We could have coordinated better. I questioned whether she grasped I'd nearly died, sepsis fatality rates. Doctors warning 6 more hours might have been lethal. She brushed it aside. Physicians inflate risks for protection. Clearly I'd survived since I lay conversing. She literally called my life-saving operation inconvenient for everyone. In that instant she ceased being my partner and became an unfamiliar person sharing paperwork. Priorities so misaligned, we seemed alien species. After her departure, I stared upward, recalling 6 years of overlooked signals. Times Sarah favored her relatives over our union, made choices solo, brushed my worries aside as excessive. I'd excused it as family closeness, admirable devotion. Now I recognized toxic entanglement where her sister's desires perpetually outweighed my genuine necessities. That evening, I contacted an attorney from my hospital bed using the provided phone. Mr. Carter, familiar from past professional work, listened detachedly as I outlined clinically. Unauthorized savings withdrawal, postponed critical procedure, resulting sepsis. Wedding placed above survival. He responded plainly. What you're detailing constitutes financial disloyalty. Courts view it gravely, particularly when one partner's actions directly threaten the other's well-being. He noted divorce grounds existed from betrayal alone, strengthened dramatically by medical fallout. He proposed an additional civil suit against Megan for wrongful use of funds, claiming she accepted money knowing consent issues existed. The suggestion felt extreme yet fitting. I authorized both paths immediately. He promised swift digital divorce filing, incorporating bills, statements, and medical proof of harm. He prepared separate action against Megan for $14,000 plus costs, citing awareness of improper source. 2 days later, I signed electronically on a tablet while monitors tracked vitals, a surreal, irreversible mark. Service occurred same day. Notices went to the venue citing disputed financing. I understood wedding disruption inevitable. Caring ceased around the moment. I fought infection while Sarah planned attire. Venue halted preparations pending resolution, unwilling to proceed with potentially tainted funds. Chaos followed. Megan contacted Sarah. Sarah phoned me repeatedly during respiratory therapy. I ignored until answering the fourth attempt. Screaming erupted, accusations of family destruction, spitefulness, unforgivable cruelty sabotaging her sister's dream. I waded through rage to sobs, familiar performative tears meant for sympathy. Then spoke plainly. You urged delaying my operation for your sister's event, allowed me to reach death's edge. Now upset I refused delaying divorce. Silence except breathing. She switched to soft begging, postpone 1 week for Megan's sake, then address us. I informed her cancellation already occurred and disconnected mid-plea. Nurses later noted vitals stabilized post-call, blood pressure normalized for first time since admission. Apparently ending marriage benefited health more than continuing it. Event officially scrapped that night. Mark relayed Megan's fiancé ended everything, not merely ceremony but relationship, upon discovering $14,000 accepted unquestioned from a spouse's emergency reserve during illness. He confronted her directly. Hesitation confirmed doubts ignored for convenience. He declared unwillingness to build future with someone prioritizing celebration over sick relatives' needs. Sarah attempted 6 more calls next days. I blocked after alternating fury and desperation voicemails. Her mother phoned once, condemning heartlessness toward Megan who did nothing. Deleted unfinished. Discharge arrived after 9 days, extensive restrictions, wound instructions, multiple prescriptions, follow-up for assessing permanent loss. Mark transported me home. Sarah had removed roughly half belongings, leaving disorder, drawers gaping, hangers scattered. Counternote claimed she stayed with Megan now. I'd ruined both lives over repayable funds. Reed once discarded, delusion too vast for engagement. Slept in our former bed that night. Despite lingering pain and marriage collapse, peace settled deeper than months prior. Celebration never happened. Union dissolved. Yet fallout continued unfolding. Final decree arrived 11 weeks post-filing, stretched eternally yet flew by depending on perspective. Those weeks blended physical healing with legal unraveling. Therapy sessions thrice weekly, attorney meetings twice weekly. Kidney scans revealed roughly 40% permanent function loss on affected side. Lifelong monitoring, protein limits, medication caution required. All traceable to Sarah valuing festivities above health. Megan's separate suit followed divorce week later, kept distinct for clarity and strength. Sarah's counsel coached victim narrative, me controlling, punitive, misusing courts against family. Divorce morning I wore my best remaining suit, met Mr. Carter curbside for final review. Documentation, medical timeline, finances, texts, solidified position. Hearing felt oddly ordinary, sterile room, routine questions, faint polished scent. Sarah opposite dressed modestly, aiming for sympathy. Her side claimed equal marital access rights, family assistance normal, my crisis unforeseeable. Mr. Carter methodically countered via chronology. Funds taken pre-diagnosis, concealed, refused return post-urgency known. Presented messages labeling me dramatic, voicemails prioritizing wedding, records proving near-death preventable. Judge, older woman, meticulous notes, delivered measured verdict. Though assets typically split evenly, fiduciary breach occurred endangering life. Sarah assigned 60% medical responsibility, $11, $400 payable gradually. No alimony granted despite plea, immediate $7,000 repayment from remaining joint holdings. Her counsel protested severity, judge silenced, stating minimal compassion deserved when party chosen over spouse survival. Sarah paled, whispered furiously. I felt only weary closure. Megan's hearing followed, shorter, angrier. She attended with mother glaring throughout. Defense claimed gift status, ignorance of illness, informal family arrangements exempt from strict consent. Mr. Carter produced timeline, sister messages anticipating my upset yet proceeding. Crucial voicemail proving Megan questioned legitimacy but retained funds. That evidence collapsed defense. Ordered full $14,000 repayment plus interest over 18 months. Inability to pay lump triggered $400 monthly wage garnishment. Megan wept, mother erupted, shouting life ruined over trivial sum, shame on me for pettiness. Bailiff removed them. I sat drained yet affirmed. Subsequent weeks revealed complete fallout. No rescheduling occurred. Megan's ex-fiancé proposed elsewhere within year. Megan worked double shifts covering garnishment while sharing cramped space with Sarah, neither affording solo rent after Megan lost event coordinator role amid lawsuit publicity. Sarah took call center job, slept on inflatable couch, slowly repaying my bills over 4+ years. Their mother ceased contact, spread narrative I'd demolished daughters over minor health matter, conveniently omitting sepsis and permanent injury. Mutual friends distanced after learning full sequence. Few defended Sarah's choices. 6 months post-divorce I adopted shelter tabby cat, named filter as ironic tribute. Therapist sighed. Cat simply requested food, warmth, company. Uncomplicated presence healed quietly. Physically, I manage reduced capacity. Fatigue arrives sooner, diet stricter, regular checks prevent worsening. Specialist predicts decades of stability with diligence. Future issues would hit harder from weakened baseline. Financial rebuilding dragged longest, total near $32,000 between care and fees. Court payments help, yet credit lingers. Purchased modest home with settlement portion, mine alone. Each payment reminds freedom from further unauthorized choices. Occasionally nights return me to ICU moment, realizing marriage ended while tubes sustained me and wife stressed event details. Grief mingles with gratitude. Lost partner, organ function, savings portion. Gained unshakable conviction. Never again permit negotiation of my existence. Acquaintances occasionally ask regret. Hospital bed filing too extreme, too hasty. Response remains unchanged. When someone requests delaying life-preserving intervention for another's party, hesitation wastes time. You simply choose survival. What are your thoughts on this? Share below.